information and communication technology has stimulated economic growth and reduced poverty. But with these opportunities have also come risks. One area of risk that is often overlooked is the risk to records. We keep records as trustworthy and impartial evidence of past activities and decisions.
Realize that record keeping is important. Whenever there's a problem, instead of finding out what has happened before, what we did in the past, and why it didn't succeed, or what successes we had, we simply start afresh. We go on reinventing the wheel all the time.
Financial records actually display what has been done with the funds given by Parliament. If you don't have proper records, you cannot establish better financial management, better financial accountability, and good governance.
It's important that our governments develop capacity not only in the management of paper-based records, but in the new formats such as electronic records.
Trustworthy records do not just happen by accident. They must be managed, and there are many barriers to their effective management that produce records-related risks. One of those barriers is short-term thinking. Often when we design ICT systems, we're thinking only about the immediate need to process transactions and not about the long-term future use and the need for evidence of those transactions for accountability purposes, for example. Lack of awareness can also be an issue. Those responsible for the design of ICT systems don't necessarily always understand that the systems also function as systems of record and that evidence needs to be trustworthy and preserved for the long term. At the same time, traditional records professionals such as records managers, registry file clerks, or archivists don't necessarily have the technical knowledge and capacity to engage meaningfully with technology professionals to explain record-keeping requirements and requirements for digital preservation. The problem can be exacerbated when within the public sector, agencies that are responsible for ICT systems are separate from agencies responsible for the management of records. Certain behaviors can also be problematic. We're all busy. We don't necessarily like to do our filing or the metadata tagging that's necessary to produce good records or good data. But the result is, if we all behave this way, a kind of tragedy of the commons. And finally, resources remain a major barrier for developing countries. To avoid records risks, avoid short-termism, increase support for knowledge and awareness amongst ICT leaders, recommend and provide support for strong information governance, provide support for monitoring of record-keeping systems, introduce ICT systems and records controls that address and work well with local societal contexts, and provide funding to support projects that establish sustainable digital information.